Welcome to our series, Questions and Answers for a World in Crisis. Today, the Avatar, Part 2. From the Mother. But it seems Christ himself said he would come back, quote, with God's sword, end quote. Which means it's no longer the same thing at all. As for me, I never believed. I had a lot of difficulty. It's Sri Aurobindo who made me believe in the physical reality of Christ. I always thought it was some story people told. They took hold of just anybody and built a story around him. But Sri Aurobindo believed in it. He said it was an avatar, a partial avatar. Question to Mother. Mother, about the Buddha, I have a question. You said that the avatar comes to the earth to show that the divine can live upon the earth. Then why did he preach just the contrary? Is he an avatar or not? That some people say he was an avatar. Others say no. But this, to tell you the truth, it is. I think that this first thing, that the avatar comes to earth to prove that the divine can, it is not so much to prove by words as to prove by a certain realization. And I think that it would be rather this aspect of the divine which is constructive and preservative, rather than a transformative and destructive aspect. You see, to use the Indian names known in India, well, I think they are avatars of Vishnu, who comes rather to prove that the divine can come upon earth. Whereas each time Shiva has manifested, he has always manifested like this, in beings who have tried to fight against an illusion and demolish what is there. I have reasons to think that the Buddha was one. To speak more accurately, he manifested something of the power of Shiva. It was the same compassion, the same understanding of all the misery, and the same power which destroys, obviously with the intention of transforming, but destroys rather than constructs. His work does not seem to have been very constructive. It was very necessary to teach men practically not to be egoistic. From that point of view, it was very necessary. But in its deeper principle, it has not helped very much in the transformation of the earth. As I said, you see, instead of helping the descent of the higher consciousness into the terrestrial life, it has strongly encouraged the separation of the deeper consciousness, which he said was the only true one from all outer expression. Now you see, this question of the divine upon the earth, well, quite naturally, those who believed in him have made a god of him. One has only to see all the temples and all the Buddhist godheads to know that human nature has always the tendency to deify what it admires. So there it is. In the eternity of becoming, each avatar is only the announcer, the forerunner of a more perfect realization. And yet, men have always the tendency to deify the avatar of the past in opposition to the avatar of the future. Now again, Sri Aurobindo has come, announcing to the world the realization of tomorrow. And again his message meets with the same opposition as of all those who preceded him. But tomorrow will prove the truth of what he revealed, and his work will be done. The divine grace alone has the power to intervene and change the course of universal justice. The great work of the Avatar is to manifest the divine grace upon earth. To be a disciple of the Avatar is to become an instrument of the divine grace. The Mother is the great dispensatrix through identity of the divine grace, with a perfect knowledge through identity of the absolute mechanism of universal justice. To go up and down and join the top to the bottom is the whole secret of realization, and that is the work of the Avatar. Each time he adds one more step to the ladder, there is a new creation upon earth. The step which is being added now, Sri Aurobindo has called the supramental. As a result of it, the consciousness will be able to enter the supramental world and yet retain its personal form, its individualization, and then come down to establish here a new creation. Certainly, this is not the last, for there are farther ranges of being, but now we are at work to bring down the supramental, to effect a reorganization of the world, to bring the world back to the true divine order. The work of achieving a continuity which permits one to go up and down and bring into the material what is above is done inside the consciousness. He who is meant to do it, the Avatar, even if he were shut up in a prison and saw nobody and never moved out, still would he do the work, because it is a work in the consciousness, a work of connection between the supermind and the material being. He does not need to be recognized. He need have no outward power in order to be able to establish this conscious connection. Once, however, the connection is made, it must have its effect in the outer world, in the form of a new creation, beginning with a model town and ending with a perfect world. And this is said to Mother. But you understand, the idea is Christ is the supermind. Christ is already risen from the dead. He already has a glorified body. He is already transformed. And after a silence, Mother replies, "No, he went back. He didn't stay. He doesn't have a glorified body. He went back. He went back to the higher regions. He doesn't have a glorified body. He may be glorified up there. That's his business," laughing. "But here, he went back." Of course, Sri Aurobindo himself said Christ was an avatar in the line of Krishna, the line that represented, yes, goodness, charity, love, harmony. He belongs to that line. He has said it also himself. The assumption of Virgin Mary is the divinization of matter, and that is the object of the last avatar. And lastly, from the purely spiritual point of view, one can say that it is the birth of the eternal upon the earth. For every time that the avatar takes a physical form, it is the birth of the eternal himself upon the earth. In the essays on the Gita, Sri Aurobindo mentions the names of 3 avatars, and Christ is one of them. An avatar is an emanation of the Supreme Lord, who assumes a human body on earth. I heard Sri Aurobindo himself say that Christ was an emanation of the Lord's aspect of love.